Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force, and I am here to talk about Knull and Battleworld again. Yes, I know I talked about this yesterday. However, there is some new news that's come to my attention. I don't know if it's news as such, but so we know that Battleworld is coming back around next week, right? And some of you might have seen my thumbnail and wondering what the heck Boilon's talking about or going to talk about. And um, basically, I've heard that there might be some alliances, especially who are starting Battleworld next week on difficulty 5, that might be trying to sell Null and profit from this. We're going to talk about how I think that this is going to be possible and why I think this is actually kind of funny and kind of takes Krakening to in Marvel Strike Force to a whole new level, and why this might upend certain portions of the player base. So let's boil this down. All right, now very quickly, let's just do a rundown of what's happening on Tuesday, because I don't know if I've actually officially talked about it here on the channel. It's coming back next week, right? It's coming back on Tuesday, pretty sure, right? Date was pretty sure it's Tuesday. Anyways, Spec Ops is being removed. Great. But it might come back in the future. Now, the biggest problem with Spec Ops was that it just did nothing. The victory points for Spec Ops meant nothing. You didn't really get anything out of it. So if they bring it back, make sure that it actually does something that's worthwhile to actually want to do it. Now, Battleworld is coming back for 4 days, of which there's going to be 3 of the regular zones, and then the null boss battle on the fourth. And this is kind of what I want to talk about mainly in the most of the second half of the video here. Each zone will have 3 missions. There's going to be some waves, right? And it's actually in game, so might as well we're going to jump in there and kind of take a look at it anyways in game. The null changes, there's 2 things that they changed. Actually, one big thing is that they changed how bleed operates. So I don't know. We're going to, first of all, when null goes live on the boss fight on Friday, I'm just not going to do anything for a little while. I'm going to see if anyone comes up with any massive bugs. If it turns out that they didn't fix the things that they were supposed to fix, etc., etc. You're not going to see me do a video. I think of like, here's the best teams on Null, and then I find out that there's an exploit somewhere, which makes me look like an absolute idiot. So I don't know if I will do anything. Uh, because I just don't put a lot of trust in Scopely that they're gonna like launch it correctly. And so I don't want to do this video talking about the best null teams or what were. I mean, let's just assume that Astral's gonna perform really well, and then you need 2 other teams after that, right? And so if you have played around with null previously, then you probably got an idea. I think Absolute A Force is gonna do pretty decently because a lot of their kit actually is anti mind control. They do less damage when they hit each other, that kind of thing. The null shards. This is kind of what I want to talk about here in today's video, and we will be doing that, right? And so this is related to what I mentioned in the beginning and how difficulty 5 is getting 100 shards. Now, if you are in the position of starting, or if you are in the position of starting at difficulty 4, you very likely still, if the full clear is not going to be that hard to do. Like 1 kill on null is not that hard. I'm pretty sure on D5 before, with the bleed stuff, of course, I'm pretty sure my alliance got like 3 or 4 null kills on D5, so I don't think it's going to be that hard to get 1 kill. And so if you're starting at D4, you're most likely going to be getting null unlocked within 2 runs or in like 5 weeks time or so, when it comes back around again. But if your alliance is starting at difficulty 5, so here's what I want to talk about, right? Let's say that null starts at 0. Let's say you're a player who has not done any Battleworld at all, and you're at 0 out of 180. Well, that means that you just need 180 shards. How do you get the 180 shards? Well, you just need to be in an alliance that runs difficulty 5 twice. So this is interesting because I've had some people DM me privately, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to say which alliances these are that are thinking about doing this. I don't know if they're. I think they're going to go ahead with it, but I don't know them well enough. Just this was kind of in private. People told me about that they were thinking of carrying people for money. And so, I mean, some of these are like MMO terms. So if you don't know what I mean by this, is that they're gonna maybe they have a couple of free slots in their alliance, and they're going to sell those slots. They're gonna basically run a mercenary service to some extent, like an MMO mercenary service for Knull. So they're gonna bring you in for Battleworld so that you can get the 100 Knull shards payout, and you are gonna pay for those 100 Knull shards payout. And this is something that I guess there's a small minority of players, right, who are willing to do this, which is crazy because Battleworld is available from level 75. I had to go back to the website, double check. I couldn't remember. So from commanders level 75 and above, account level 75 and above, you have access to Battleworld. And there's no restriction beyond that. And as far as I'm aware, as this comes back, I don't think there's any restrictions. Like as long as you're 75, and you're an alliance that does Knull, you can get the shards, right? So anyone 75 and above could just jump into an alliance that's running D5. Do you want to? I think you have to participate to get rewards, but even that I'm not sure about. I think you do have to attack them maybe once. I don't remember. Someone can let me know in the comments down below. And then they walk away with their 100 shards, and then they can leave the alliance and then come back in a month and then do it again, right? So they're not even in the alliance full time. They're just there for this portion of Battle World to pick up the Knull shards. Do this twice, get Knull unlocked, and profit. And I guess the issue with that is that they're not doing it legit, quote unquote, legitimately. But there's also going to be a lot of other players who are, like maybe you pulled in someone to your alliance because you needed to fill the slots and you didn't really pay too much attention. Like they're way less TCP than you, and you're okay with that. There's going to be all sorts of players that unlock Knull as a result of running D4 and D5 in the various alliances that are going to get Knull before their time. I'm going to say quote unquote before their time, because we talked about on Friday with how powerful his kit is, right? Like he's essentially neutering Mephisto. He is neutering Apocalypse. So there's going to be a lot of applicability to Knull. And if you have Knull well before you're running through Dark Dimension 7, before you even have Knull, or sorry, before you even have Mephisto, like that's going to make your arena capability so much greater, in my opinion anyways. When you're not even close to getting these sorts of characters on your own, right? So having Knull in your roster for like these other players who are like like new or whatever you want to call it, right? Like who wouldn't have normally been able to get Knull are going to get him. So there's two groups of people here, right? What I just talked about, these other players who like are kind of getting carried, but they're not paying for it. They happen to be in an alliance that are running D4, D5. They're going to get it within 2 months, maybe something like that. And they're going to get it pretty early. And then there's the second group of people which are paying, and I've heard figures anywhere between 500 and $1,000 for a placement in an alliance, which is crazy. Kind of, I think it is. It sounds crazy. And they're going to split it amongst their alliance members. Now, I mean, I guess if you're splitting it like 20 ways, I don't know how many. Depends, right? What if you have like 4 slots and $1,000? That's $4,000 divided by 20 members. What is that? Like $200 a piece? Or it's essentially a real life mercenary service. And this could it's really interesting because that's not for some people that's a lot of money, right? Even $200 once a month, that's spending money for some people if they're willing to do that. Now this has to be done privately, of course, under the table. I think if you were to announce something like that, it would definitely get shut down probably, or maybe you'd get banned. Maybe this is against terms of service, this kind of stuff. I'm not sure actually, so let me know in the comments down below. But this could be, the reason why this is potentially a thing now is because it's running once a month. I think when Battleworld was running once every 10 days, this really was not. You wouldn't do that, right? Because it's a small amount of shards coming in, dripping in weekly. That it would take too long of a time to basically buy that slot. But when you're getting like 100 shards for one payout once a month, yeah, it's not that hard to do, right? I mean, you just need to be there, and that's the other thing. And we need to look in game. I don't know how long you need to even be in the alliance to participate in Battleworld and pick up the shards, because I don't think that there's it's not related to a season payout, right? So for raids and for alliance wars, you need to be in an alliance for I think it's 5 days, right, before the season finishes. And I don't think that that's the case for Battleworld when it comes back. Now there used to be a Battleworld season, but this is not a thing anymore, right? There's a actually there's a okay, so there's a leaderboard, but I don't think that they're activating this. I think it's just still there as part of the UI. There is the difficulty sliders, of course, which you can find here. My alliance is in D5. No, I'm not selling slots. That's not what I'm doing with my alliance. We are full. But there's nothing in here that really tells me that I can't that you know that you can't just join. Can you join mid battle world? Like, when do you need to join the alliance to even get credit for the null shards? That's what I'm not 100% sure about myself, right? And so you can go into the preview, and then we can jump all the way. There's zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and then zone 4, which is null now. And you can jump in here and see that, right? And you click on the rewards, and you just need to do 10% damage as an alliance to unlock rewards. And there you go. There's 100 null shards here at a full clear. But there's nothing in here indicating, like, I'm not even sure if you need to, I think you have to participate. I think you have to attack, right? To get rewards. I'm not even sure. I don't remember. Because I think everyone in my alliance did do this. I don't know anyone who didn't. Do you have to actually, in the old way of Battle World, did you actually have to attack in order to get your null payout? I'm not sure. What happened if you missed the day? Did you still get it? I don't remember. Let me know in the comments down below. So there's a few things that I'm not 100% clear on. How long do you need to be in the alliance to get credit for either A, Battle World, or two, just the null battle, right? And that's what I was talking about is that the rest of the stuff doesn't matter necessarily. It's just being here for the null fight, right? And so that's the mercenary service that I'm talking about, that people are potentially selling the 100 shards, right? You know, to a variety of players. You could, I don't know, maybe because you could easily do this with like 18 players, probably less. Honestly, if you have some really good members, you know, with their roster intact, I would imagine that like Astral, like 18 Astrals, will probably do one full clear. Like I gotta think, right? Especially if they've kind of like fixed it and it's not as bugged anymore, and they're almost farmable. I think that they could probably do that. And then you get 3 attacks per player, right? So like there's no reason why you would not be able to do why your 18 good members would not be able to do this. And the more that you could do this, hypothetically, you can just pull in a bunch of players, right? You could have like 6 or maybe 8 carries. And that's like $1,000 a person or $500 a person or whatever, right? You know, and so that's kind of crazy. Now, is this going to happen forever? Probably not. You know, are people is Scopely going to catch on to this? Maybe, because I just made a video. Maybe I just screwed people's alliances and I'm making money. I don't know. I think it's a really interesting thing, and I never really thought about it until someone actually DM'd me about this. Um, because I think potentially this puts more null unlocks into the game to players who wouldn't or shouldn't have unlocked them that soon. I guess is where I'm going with that one. Because of his kit and how powerful he is, it will upend the demographic, I suppose, that player is in by having him, I guess. And there's nothing stopping them from this. Some really interesting stuff. I would like to know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Again, I think at this stage right now, anyways, it's only available to alliances. I don't know how many alliances got to have D5 currently unlocked. I wanted to say it was in the top 600, but I'm not 100% sure on this. You know, who can do this right now, right? Because you would need to basically, in 2 payouts, you need to get 100 twice, because 100 plus 75 from D4 alliances is not going to equal an unlock, not from scratch anyways. So you would need to run D5 twice from scratch to get an unlock for null at 180 shards. Now, by the next time around, there will be more alliances that are able to sell this kind of method as well, because more alliances will be in D5, and therefore there will be more people that have access to the 100 shard payout. So yeah, crazy times. Maybe, you know, maybe people are profiting off of this. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. That's it for now, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We got some exciting stuff on the days ahead, of course, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Boilon signing out.